see everything that you are. I always have. Don't be afraid. You have so much pain in you. So much rage. That you can't contain it. You and I are the same. So, who's the monster?
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. This will be my new Marvel Echo trailer breakdown. There's a whole bunch of Daredevil, Kingpin going on here, so if anybody's looking for a really good lawyer, he's coming really soon. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the episodes. I'll be doing videos for all the episodes, but one of the big differences with this series is they're actually releasing all the episodes at the same time. There might only be 5 episodes instead of the standard 6 for a couple different reasons. Marvel's kind of testing things out with this series because they're releasing it under a Marvel Spotlight brand, which is meant to be for their more grounded street-level hero stories like Daredevil, the Defenders characters. It's kind of like the Marvel one-shot, Marvel special presentation brand, but for TV series, not movies. The Marvel Spotlight brand is actually right out of the comics, but they're borrowing the name, the whole concept from the comics in the early 1970s. For those of you that wanted to do a new Ghost Rider series or like a Ghost Rider movie in the MCU, they actually use Ghost Rider in Fantastic Four as an example of this. The producers on Echo said that basically, like back in the 1970s, you didn't need to read Fantastic Four or like watch Fantastic Four to understand Ghost Rider Spotlight back in the day. So it kind of makes me feel like they're going to do a new Ghost Rider project at some point under this Marvel Spotlight brand. It's also meant to be Marvel's first rated R or rated mature, like rated M series that they're doing under the new MCU banner. Like all the Marvel Netflix series were rated mature, so it's more in that vein. Like this was actually kind of what the trailer makes it feel like. It feels a little bit more like the classic Daredevil Netflix series in tone, which I think people are way more excited about. Like the trailer footage is making it seem like much more of a banger than the descriptions early on made it seem like. Like a lot of people early on weren't that hyped because the Echo character is kind of like a D-list character. So a lot of people are like, why are they doing an Echo series? Why not like another big character, like 1,000 big A, B-list characters that they haven't done yet? Basically, they pitched it as sort of like another Daredevil versus Kingpin kind of series, but using another character to tell that story. So obviously that is like the biggest part of the series here, like that's the big draw, is that Daredevil and Kingpin are coming back in a really big way ahead of Daredevil Born Again. And the series is meant to directly set up Daredevil Born Again, even though they just took the Daredevil Born Again series back to ground and are completely reworking it using the Punisher showrunner and a bunch of the Loki people. That's right, the Punisher showrunner is now running Daredevil Born Again. Do you not feel that much more hyped about Daredevil Born Again episodes? Most of the trailer footage is Kingpin in Echo, but there's a little bit of Daredevil footage versus Echo. This scene here where you see Daredevil fighting someone, he's wearing his new version of the classic red suit. That's right, he's wearing the red suit again, finally. It looks kind of like an evolution of the Daredevil Netflix red suit. Kind of the same way that he wore the red and yellow suit during She-Hulk, and that was meant to be an upgraded version of the Netflix suit, like it was based on the Netflix suit.
And on the wall, there was a graphic of a superhero suit. Initially, I was like, I couldn't figure out who it was, and I realized it was the new Daredevil suit, and they've incorporated the gold or the yellow from some of the earlier Daredevil comics.
Now he's finally in the classic red. I think during Daredevil Born Again, he's supposed to be wearing a version of the Back in Black suit too. Like he'll have multiple suits over the next couple of series that he appears on. Also probably going to get a new suit during Spider-Man 4 because we're expecting him to show up during that, but that's not happening till 2025.
I have a strong feeling that, and I've said this since I started the Netflix show, so this is not a big deal, that eventually I'm going to kick Spider-Man's ass.
But if you couldn't tell, zoom and enhance here, the fight that he's in the middle of is with the Echo character. That's her pigtails in the background that you see. Even though there isn't a lot of him during the trailer, the rumor is that during the series, he's looking for Jessica Jones, and she'll appear during the Daredevil Born Again series at some point. But that was before they actually completely reworked the series, so I don't know exactly how the story's going to work, because we know Punisher is still going to be a big character during Daredevil Born Again. Maybe there'll be some loose references to him during the Echo series, but because the Echo series is going to be so quick, I'm not expecting a ton of other Defenders characters during that. Maybe some Foggy Nelson, some Karen Page references, mostly to help set up Daredevil Born Again when things pick up with that series. And even though I didn't mention this earlier, one of the other big things they're using the series to test out is they're doing a simulcast on Hulu because Disney just arranged to buy the rest of Hulu, and I think they're going to be folding that into Disney Plus so that it's like one service eventually, kind of the way the Star brand has worked on Disney Plus internationally. So like if you live outside the United States, there's like a Star part of Disney Plus that has a bunch of mature content. I think that's what they eventually plan to do with Hulu, but probably not until like next year or maybe the year after at some point. Like eventually they'll do that. But just starting with the trailer footage, working our way through shot by shot, talking about Easter eggs, WTF moments. Like I said, most of the trailer is Kingpin and Echo, their backstory together, like how he met her for the first time and how he became kind of like a surrogate uncle to her. Most of this they kind of set up during the Hawkeye series, like you get a little bit of her backstory. Like the way she got involved with Kingpin as a little girl was the same as it was in the comics. The idea is her father worked for the tracksuit mafia and basically led them underneath Kingpin, but eventually he had him killed and then just told Echo that it was someone else, turning her slowly into his weapon that he would just send around killing people when he needed people killed, basically, like an enforcer. One of the big differences, though, from the comics, they don't really get into this during the trailer, is her special powers. So she does have some low-level powers, kind of like Daredevil has powers in the comics. She's meant to be kind of like a street-level hero. In the comics, the reason why she's called Echo is because she can echo or mimic the movements of anyone else right after seeing them, kind of like the Bullseye character without a lot of his accuracy abilities. She can basically copy anybody's movements, so initially in the comics, Kingpin sends her against Daredevil, blaming Daredevil or lying to her, saying that Daredevil killed her father, so she tries to take him out in revenge. Until she eventually learns that Kingpin was lying to her, Daredevil had nothing to do with it, then turns against Kingpin and winds up shooting him in the eye like she did during the Hawkeye series. So that's why we see him in the trailer with the eye patch over his eye. A lot of people were confused about this. Didn't he die during Hawkeye? No, he did not die at the end of Hawkeye. He is back and meaner than ever. But I love the way that they start the trailer here. This is obviously meant to take place in the past when she was a little girl. There were some flashbacks that wound up being deleted scenes during the Hawkeye series where he takes her out for ice cream. I think this is meant to be one of those events where he's taking her out for ice cream and picking her up. It's not clear if the voiceover from Kingpin is during present day and they're just juxtaposing it with scenes from their past together. But he narrates the entire trailer basically telling her that he's taking a liking to her because he senses himself in her. Like, there's so much of me that I see in you. Like, we share a lot of the same qualities. So he's kind of doing his Emperor Palpatine kind of thing, drawing her to the dark side of the Force, so to speak. That's why they're using the tagline of the trailer. It's like, no bad deed goes unpunished. The whole idea that she turns into more of an anti-hero through the course of the series. Kind of like the Punisher type of character, only he wasn't quite as overtly evil to begin with, working for the forces of darkness, so to speak. But basically this opening scene is him watching an ice cream vendor, like they mentioned, getting ice cream together, making fun of her disability, and he just loses it on him. Doesn't this remind you of his classic car takedown from the Daredevil Netflix series? Just so hardcore, just watching him absolutely lose it. They also tune the color of these flashbacks to make it look a little bit darker, like they bleed, so to speak, the color out of the flashbacks so that the blood stands out on his fist. Notice he's also wearing the classic comic book Kingpin white suit. Also makes the color of his bloody fist pop a lot too. The black shirt that he wears underneath it obviously meant to contrast the blackness of his soul. Kind of like a gilded person, like he walks around in broad daylight under the mask of someone who is good, but is secretly doing very, very bad things. They have the custom version of the Marvel Studios logo. They also changed the Echo logo too. It looks a little bit more like the classic Defenders logo from Netflix too. They jump back to present day, and the red light scene here actually seems like it's from the Hawkeye series, or at least seems similar to the ones during the Hawkeye series when she debuted. She takes someone down at the skate ring, the Make America Skate Again, obviously a reference to Make America Great Again. I think this is also a reference to what's going on with Kingpin's larger storyline in the MCU during this period. Part of the idea is that Marvel Phase 5 is meant to represent like a Dark Reign era from the comics, all the villains sort of taking positions of power in the United States. Kingpin was supposed to enter the Daredevil Born Again series running for mayor of New York City, and he was going to win. So I think he's got this whole Make New York City Great Again kind of vibe post-snap, and that's happening during the Echo series, like he's running for mayor, or he's getting ready to run for mayor. They revealed the January 10th premiere date. Like I said, all episodes are going to be dropping. There might only be 5 episodes, too. The grave she's visiting is for her father because this takes place after the events of Hawkeye. He'll probably be featured in flashbacks. They make it seem like this accident is the one that caused her to lose her leg. These seem like more of the Kingpin's thugs, but not the tracksuit mafia. These seems like they get more into her Choctaw heritage. She's part of the Choctaw Nation, and they're getting into that mythology during the series, and that's where her special powers are going to come from. So they actually did explain that they changed the character a little from the comics. She will have actual special powers, not just like mimic abilities like the classic Daredevil comics. I think what they're doing is they're giving her special powers using Native American magical tribal tattoos. And it'll be more like an Iron Fist kind of vibe, but instead of Kung Fu, it's Choctaw Indian mythology. If you remember during the flashbacks in the Hawkeye series when she was a little girl and her father was telling her that story about the powers of this special dragon, I think it gets into that kind of stuff. Interesting connection because a dragon is a big part of the Iron Fist mythology and also the Shang-Chi mythology too. Notice this scene of Kingpin looking at this canvas here, the painting looks very familiar, just like his debut during the Daredevil Netflix series, Rabbit in a Snowstorm. This just seems like that same gang that comes at that skate land for maybe some of the people that she cares about. Maybe she just comes to rescue them and that's why she takes them down. I'm not sure who she's playing, but obviously the red light is meant to represent the whole Daredevil connections of it all. This seems like a flashback to Echo's birth. This gets into more of the Native American mythology of the series and her heritage. I'm not sure what's going on with the black and white flashbacks too. These might just be ancestors of hers. These scenes are just like the flashbacks with her father's stories during the Hawkeye series. These might be more scenes with her father when she was younger. Couple really big fight scenes that she has with a bunch of other gang members in different places. Then when Kingpin starts saying to her that you and I are the same, they start beating down different villains in the same way, even though they themselves are acting kind of like villains. But I think the idea is that she's meant to be more of an anti-hero, so it's kind of juxtaposing their actions. Like he's in the middle of wasting someone that he's pissed off at, but the people she's wasting are way worse. Kind of more of like a Punisher type of vibe, like doing bad things, but doing them to even worse people. This scene of him with the eye patch just looks like their reunion after she tried to kill him during the Hawkeye series, and it's them sort of coming to terms with each other. Like he's trying to justify his actions and everything that he did, the death of her father, and she's found him again, is about to try and kill him again. Permadead this time. Obviously, we know he comes back during Daredevil Born Again, so there's no way that this is going to stick. She's not going to wind up killing him. But overall, the footage does make it seem really solid. And like I said, I think that they just whittled the series down to make it way tighter so there aren't as many episodes where just like nothing winds up happening. That might be one of the reasons why they're dropping it all at once, just because they whittled the series way down. What'll probably happen though is they'll release a couple more trailers that'll give us more of the actual story. Like this is kind of a teaser trailer just giving you some vibes from the series. Like, oh, it feels kind of like the classic Marvel Netflix series like Daredevil Netflix. So I definitely feel like everybody is way more hyped about the series after actually seeing the footage, whereas before everybody was kind of worried about what it was going to look like, especially after Marvel announced they were going to drop it all at once. Like, wait a minute, why would they do that if the series wasn't fire? Whatever they wind up releasing for the next couple weeks, of course I'll do videos. The next big series after this will be X-Men 97. I don't think that they're going to release those episodes until they release the Echo episodes, so it might be a little bit later in the year before we get a trailer for X-Men 97. There's a bunch of big stuff coming up, so of course I'll do videos for whatever winds up being released. Right now we're in the middle of Loki episodes finishing. My Loki finale video will post next week after they release it, so be sure to enable alerts for my channel so you don't miss that. We also just started the Invincible Season 2 episodes, and it is probably one of the best series of all time. Not just best comic book series, it is just really badass by itself. Links for my Season 2 Episode 1 video down in the description below. Everybody click here for my Loki Season 2 Episode 6 finale trailer video, and click here to learn about Marvel's new plans for doing Doctor Doom in the movies and a lot of other big stuff that's going on behind the scenes with the next couple of Avengers movies. Thank you so much for watching, everyone stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.